So Jess, first up, we'll just get you to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you actually do.
So I'm Jess, or Jessica. I'm 24 years old and I'm a graduate physio here at Physio Freedom. I grew up in Hamilton, moved to Melbourne and now just moved back.
How long have you actually been doing it?
So this is my first year as a physio. I studied for 4 years and I took a year off before I went to uni as a gap year, and now I'm here.
So with something like a physio, that's something you can do anywhere. So why have you chosen to stay in Hamilton?
I actually chose to come back for the job. I was offered the job. It had a lot of opportunities for a graduate physio. I get to work in private practice as well as in small hospital, as well as with the aged population. So in a larger city or a regional city, you don't get that opportunity. You're just stuck in either private practice or either in the hospital setting. And while I didn't know exactly where I wanted to be, Hamilton had that offering, and because I grew up here, it was just an easy transition back.
Being a local girl, you've obviously gone to school here. How important was your education at high school in reaching your goal to becoming a physio?
So I was really, really lucky that I actually knew that I wanted to be a physio from early on. So I had to head down, bum up and study really hard. So schooling was really important, subject choices were really important as well. And having the support of the school and family and friends behind you was really important as well. With
those subject choices, how did you go in VCA with choosing the right subjects?
So first of all, I spoke to physios that were before me and what they did. I also spoke to the careers advisor at school, and then I wanted to do subjects also that interested me. So it was quite interesting that the subjects that interested me correlated with the subjects that I needed as prerequisites to get into physio. So I ended up doing English, maths methods, further maths, chemistry, Chinese, and PE. PE was really important as well.
So far it sounds pretty smooth sailing. You knew from an early age what you wanted to do. You knew the subjects that you needed to do. Were there any twists and turns in getting to your goal?
Yes, of course. So the enter score for physio when I was in my year was 98, and that was just huge. So from the get-go, when I was in year 7 and 8, people were telling me that it was really, really hard to get into physio. I might not make it. Have some other options, have some backdoor entries and things like that. And when it came down to it in year 12, I didn't get the enter score, but there was always different ways to get in, and I was very fortunate to get a third round offer to go into physio.
Would you have any advice for anyone that's feeling a little bit lost about their future, or being questioned about their future like you were by your friends at the time?
I'd say get out there and do some experience in areas that you're interested in. So I had an interest in the human body. I was always injured as a kid, so that's where my interest was, and I went in and sat with the physio and did some work experience in year 10 with the physio. But the biggest thing that I can say is get out and try things. You don't know what you like until you see different things. So have an explore of different areas. If you like sports, have a look at the options for sports. If you like medical, have a look at the options for medical. And I was very lucky and I probably did hone in on just one, but see what's out there and have a go as well. If you like accounting, commerce, figures, things like that, see what the options are out there for you. If you like being hands-on and trades and things like that, get out there and see what the options are as well. So spending a day with a friend or a family friend or things like that in the different trades or hairdressing or whichever sort of things that you're interested in, explore what options there are as careers that way. And that way you'll enjoy what you do. It's not just a job.
Now, obviously you can't just go straight from VCA to becoming physio. There's courses and requirements involved. What are those courses and how many different avenues are there?
Okay, so in Victoria for physio, you can study at Trobe, which is what I did. So it's a Bachelor of Health Science, Masters of Physio. It's a double degree, so you can if you don't get into that initial course, you can go through and do your Bachelor of Health Science, graduate with that, and then do a 2-year postgrad on top, or you can go into Bachelor of Health Science and then try and transfer over. Those are both very viable options. In terms of Melbourne Uni, they now go through the Melbourne model, so you have to do a 3-year undergrad degree in biomedicine anyway. So if you get into biomedicine and think physio is what you want to do, but you explore a few other avenues, you might realise that research is something that you want to do, or things like that. So that's always good if you're not 100% sure of what you want to do. And then you can also just do a straight Bachelor of Physiotherapy at Monash Uni. However, if you don't get in with those they're the high 90s scores. If you don't get in with those, there's always the other options of health science, human movement. You can also go through being an AHA, which is an allied health assistant, so training on the job to do AHA, whether it be at a hospital or a rehab centre, and then go from there and do your Bachelor of Health Science from there, and then step up and do physio as well. There's also other options in terms of if physio is something that you're looking at but you don't get the score, things like osteopathy or chiropractic within reason, and exercise physiology or sports science, things like that. They're always options that you can go for as well.
You mentioned your research about the courses. You've obviously done a lot of research about the courses. How important do you think that is for someone?
I think it's vital. You can't just rock up and like you're at the supermarket and just pick a course. You need to make sure it's what you want to do. Obviously there's finances involved. You can go through HECS, but some courses you can't put through HECS and you might have to pay up front. More so your TAFE courses, things like that. So you have to have some research behind you. The best thing that I can recommend is going to the uni open days. Maybe not in year 12 because things get really busy in year 12, but I went, I think, year 10 and year 11 with friends. We went to different unis and saw what they had on offer, saw what the res colleges were like, and there's certainly things that will appeal to you at different unis. So I think that's really, really important. And just having your careers advisor or your careers teacher at school on board, they're the best resource that you can have.
Now, once you were in uni, obviously study takes up a lot of your time. Did you have a typical day or a routine set up for your study?
So my uni, I lived on campus for the first year, and I really recommend that, which that sometimes compromises some of your study, but it's worthwhile to have that support behind you and make some friends. A typical day was very varied, obviously, because you'll have classes some days, classes different days. It's not an 8:30 to 3:30 school day. You might have 3 classes at the start of the week, 3 days off, and then a full day of Thursday, Friday. So it's sort of very dependent on the course and what's required. Physio is really full on. So the first year wasn't too bad, but the second and third years we were sort of studying from 9 till 6 and then hanging out at the library being cool. But it's certainly worthwhile.
Study is obviously a big part, but it's not a whole part of your university experience. So how do you stay focused, and I guess what drove you to stay true to your studies?
A big thing was actually getting involved in things that your study was relevant with. So I studied physio, then worked for a football club in the last couple of years that I was studying, and I did that with a group of friends that I was studying with. So having that peer support as well, but just getting involved and having something where you can actually see your study getting you somewhere. It was really nice having these amateur footballers come in and, we could practice our assessment techniques, we could practice our treatment techniques. They didn't have a clue that we didn't really know what we were doing, but it was the best opportunity. The other thing is to get involved in the clubs and things like that around unis. There's just so much uni culture, and coming from a smaller country town, it was a huge eye-opener to see what you can do and experiences that you can have. Like, I think there was a chocolate club and things like that, just to get involved and have some fun with it. And things like having part-time jobs as well. You can, support yourself, and then you've got an out from your study as well. How
important is that out, having a social life, having a job, having a chocolate club? How important are those things, do you feel?
It's huge, and particularly not just at uni but through school as well. I think getting involved in your extracurricular activities, your sport, your music, your public speaking and things like that, that sets you up for life with different experiences, as well as it gives you the time away from your study so that you've got some free time and you've got a nice work-life balance. And I think also that if you have if you keep yourself busy during the week, and this is what I found particularly during year 11 and 12, I was very, very busy during the week with sporting commitments, and that the times that I did have to study or that I had set aside to study and do my homework, they were far more productive than the times in the school holidays where you had the whole day to sit down and study and you just kept getting distracted and procrastinating, and you didn't get anywhere. So I really, really emphasise that it's important to keep yourself busy and you'll actually succeed better.
So you mentioned when you were younger in years 9, 10, 11, would you have any advice to younger students in years 9, 10, 11 who are thinking about leaving school before year 12? Would you recommend how they approach their the choices of courses and subjects that they do?
I really recommend picking subjects that you like, picking subjects that you're good at. Don't think that, okay, I want to be a physio, I'm going to pick the hardest maths if you really, really struggle with your maths. It's only a small component of getting into a course. Pick subjects that you like that are going to interest you and to keep you at school and keep you motivated. The other thing that I would like to say is that I think if you stick with school for as long as you can, your opportunities, you've got so many more doors that are going to be open to you. It's a lot more... You've just got a lot more opportunities that will be open to you. However, I think, if you can get out and see different, like I said before, different trades and different experiences to really reassure what you do like. Having said that though, in year 9, 10, 11 and 12, you don't have to know what you want to do with your life. I still have friends now that are 24 that have tried different courses, haven't really liked it, and they're moving on and trying different things that they really do like. You don't have to know. There's always options, and have a go and get in and try things.
You're in your first year now as a physio. How do you manage your time working as a physio? Is it what you expected, or?
It is. It's nice to actually be able to apply all your knowledge that you learn. It's very tiring. I thought that I was going to be right for full-time work. I was very, very busy in my final year with placements and part-time work and a social life, and now I feel like all I do is work because I can't cope with anything else. But again, it's really nice to have things, the sporting commitments to have outs and things like that. But it's the first year's a big shock, but it's going really well.
So do you find yourself often in a situation where you're not really sure what to do or how to go about things? And if so, what do you do in that situation?
Sometimes, because obviously the human body is quite large, you can have things that present that you might not know exactly what's going on. But then what you have to do in that situation is just be cool, calm, collected, think about your assessment techniques that you do know, treatment techniques that you do know, and then seek help where you can. So being a junior physio here, we've always got senior physios that are around that we can ask and that we can get a second opinion. And that reflects really well with the patient as well. They like to have the two-on-one experience if you're not sure, and then they know that they're getting the right treatment as well.
And if there's someone out there that's thinking about or interested in a career like yours, would you have any advice for them?
Certainly don't let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big, because that's just ridiculous. The world's your oyster. I'd really recommend getting out and trying some work experience with a private practice physio and with a hospital physio, because they're quite different. You might like one, you might like the other, you might like both. You might think, yeah, this is what I want to do, and then sit in for a day and think, oh my gosh, I hate this. So it's really good to get that experience, as I've said before. And I really recommend seeing the different avenues of physio as well. Musculoskeletal physio, which is your classic sports injuries, and what I knew that you went to the physio for, is just a really small scope of physiotherapy. So there's a huge array of different areas that physios work with stroke patients, with cardiorespiratory patients who have trouble getting phlegm off their chest. Not the most desirable area of physio, but it is one. Working with children, working with the elderly, there's just heaps of options.
And you would definitely agree that it's not the be-all and end-all, because you, from a young age, realised that you wanted to have a go, and you knew it was a high enter score, yet you mentioned that you didn't actually get the enter score required,
yet
you still got into what you wanted to do.
That's right, and the day in December when your enter scores come out, you think it's the worst day of the year. You're not going to get in to do what you want to, or you might be completely surprised and think, wow, I underestimated myself. But the biggest thing is don't curb your dreams because people are telling you that you can't get in. You can never set that bar high enough for yourself. Just strive to what you want to do, and where there's a will, there is a way. And right now, I think I can remember my enter score, but you never remember anyone else's enter score. And the day after, you think, well, I've got it. There's nothing else you can do about it. And they're not important anymore. They're important to get that first round offer, if that's what you want. But I've still got friends that didn't go to uni straight away, and then now they're back at uni or trying a different course, and they're absolutely loving it, and their enter score is completely irrelevant.
Jess, thanks for your time and thank you for sharing your story.
No worries, thank you.